Why the Disston Tank is considered the weakest armored vehicle. Many consider the Disston Tank one of the worst armored vehicles ever created. This early armored warfare endeavor failed in practically every important aspect, despite its great aim. Why is the Disston Tank one of the weakest armored vehicles ever built? What went wrong? Explore its design, performance, and legacy. The Disston Tank was built in the early 20th century when armored warfare was being tested. Disston, an American sawmaker, designed the tank. It was obvious they were unfamiliar with military vehicle design. Disston tank armor was pitiful. The weak steel armor could barely survive small weapons fire or light shrapnel. It was vulnerable to hostile weapons, especially contemporary artillery, which could readily pierce its flimsy armor. The Disston tank was ineffectual in combat because to its poor protection compared to the British Mark I and French FT-17. Underpowered Disston tanks were also renowned. Its slow engine hampered its speed and maneuverability. Its slow, ponderous pace of a few miles per hour made it an obvious target for faster, more mobile forces. In the rapidly changing World War I battlefield, where mobility was crucial, the tank's inability to quickly relocate or avoid threats was a major drawback. Also problematic was the Disston tank's design. A huge staff was needed to run it, but the cabin was tight and uncomfortable. The crew struggled to operate the tank due to its poor architecture. The gun's placement limited its efficacy, and the tank's design offered little tactical benefit. Due to the engine and lack of tracks, it struggled on rocky terrain, reducing its usefulness. Another major issue was the Disston tank's firepower. Its small-caliber weapon proved ineffectual against opposing fortifications, troops, and armored vehicles due to its lack of powerful, high-velocity ordnance. Its primary weapon proved ineffective against battlefield threats, and its diminutive size and meager weaponry made it insignificant against more advanced, better-armed tanks. The Disston tank's introduction timing may have been its biggest downfall. Though conceived early in tank warfare, the vehicle was built after tanks had improved greatly. Later vehicles, like the British Mark IV and French Renault FT-17, were more powerful, armored, and combat-ready. Disston tank couldn't compete, thus it was immediately sidelined. While the Disston tank never saw duty in World War I and had no impact on armored warfare, it illustrates early tank design problems. The Disston tank's flaws demonstrate the importance of armor, firepower, and mobility in armored vehicle design. Disston tank is a key lesson in military technological evolution, despite its forgotten moniker. It shows that an imbalance between design, protection, and power can turn an ambitious armored vehicle prototype into an ineffectual and antiquated relic.